What's up, YouTube? It's time for a review of the new Big Sean record, I Decided, out this past Friday, February 3rd. So, other than the Migos record that just dropped, this is pretty much the first blockbuster hip-hop release of 2017. I mean, Big Sean performed on Fallon the night that it dropped, and there's already been a lot of buzz and a lot of interesting debate about it. Now, for me personally, Big Sean is one of the most frustrating artists in all of hip-hop because he'll tease me with a hot verse here or a dope song there, and he's got a real likable, laid back personality that I really fuck with, but then his actual projects always let me down. It drives me nuts. I mean, I thought he practically stole the show on Detroit vs. Everybody. There was a song on his Hall of Fame project called First Chain with Nas and Kid Cudi that I just loved at the time. I thought he killed his guest appearance on Meek Mill's Dream Chasers 2 mixtape with that song Burn. And contrary to popular belief, I thought that he held his own on that infamous Control song. But again, I've been consistently disappointed by the lackluster, lazy club tracks and the generic, derivative, kind of faceless bars that sour me on his overall projects. But of course, you should never give up on an artist, I think, and with an album as hyped as this one, which is now Big Sean's fourth, you just jump right in and give it a fair shot. I Decided is technically a concept album, which, side note, I'm getting kind of sick of seemingly every artist claiming that their bodies of work have some sort of high-minded conceptuality to them. Like, every project you do should have some sort of loose concept behind it other than just slapping together songs, so it should be a huge fucking deal when you reveal that you have some sort of concept behind your project. I don't know, just to me, a concept album is Deltron 3030 or Queensryche Operation Mindcrime, something with a fucking story. But I don't know, ran over. The concept behind I Decided is essentially the perspective of an older, wiser, more insightful Big Sean relaying advice to the current Big Sean and warning him about certain pitfalls and how to avoid them and certain mistakes that he may have made. And this is illustrated pretty clear as day on the album cover, which features current Big Sean on one side and future, wiser Big Sean on the other side. And this concept definitely taps into something universal, something that I feel like we all think about sometimes. What would I say now to the idiot 14-year-old version of me? And on the flip side, I wonder what the 30-year-old version of me is going to think about what I'm doing now and my current worldview and the way I think about things. I wonder how badly am I fucking up right now by his standards. But we can kind of put that on the back burner for now because it's not like I Decided is this cohesive narrative type thing. It really is at its core just a collection of hip-hop songs that we can take apart and look at like any other one of his projects. Something positive that I immediately noticed on my first couple listens was that, and it's not really that much of a surprise, but there's a lot of clever and witty wordplay on these 14 tracks. On the opening song Light, Big Sean turns a phrase nicely when he talks about Kanye West signing him. He says, "Ye found a pro," meaning him when he got signed, and kind of twists that phrase to talk about how he's profound, and it's pretty clever. On the next track, Bounce Back, he has a great line where he talks about how he's kept it G 1000, which is of course a play on G, referring to either gangsta or referring to $1,000, but it's also a play on the phrase keep it 100, so mathematically Big Sean is keeping it 10 times more real than everybody else. So yeah, there's a bunch of lines like that on I Decided where you kind of sit there and just go, which there always have been with Big Sean, so it's not really a surprise. What stands out to me more as something that I really enjoy on this album are the motivational sentiments that a bunch of these tracks put forth. Because one of the biggest themes that Big Sean's future self touches on is just hard work and dedication and having that laser, unimpaired focus on your goals and on the bigger picture despite the endless distractions that are going on around you. It's something that's so relatable for someone like me, and I'm sure for anybody who has dreams and ambitions that they go after day in and day out. And these ideas are put forth very plainly on the song Stick to the Plan and on Sacrifices. On Stick to the Plan, he mentions his friends always wanting him to come around and hang out and shit, but just knowing that he's got to stay focused and doesn't have time for that shit. And then on Sacrifices, he talks similarly about all the things that he's dropped in pursuit of his goals. And Offset from the Migos delivers a hook about giving up the love life and the club life. And I just really connected with this idea, this very simple idea of just making sacrifices to achieve what you want to achieve. It's definitely one of my favorite tracks on the album. But once again, there's a bunch of stuff on here that just bums me the hell out. And this ranges from immediate skip tracks that I have a strong distaste for to a bunch of songs where I'm just like, it's alright. One track I cannot stand is Moves. And I know this is like a single and this is a song that people really fuck with, but I just cannot get down with producer Fuse's run-of-the-mill production, Big Sean's hazy, monotone delivery that almost literally puts me to sleep, and just some of the bars on here, just rhyming J.J. Abrams with Channing Tatum and Jason Statham. This song is just really hard for me to listen to. Then there's a song like Bounce Back, which does have a pretty hard beat for Metro Boomin, but like it's exactly, and I mean exactly, what I expected from this album to a T. Like not in a good way, like in a predictable way. I expect every Big Sean album to have trendy instrumentals, that familiar, nonchalant delivery where he kind of lazily passes off basic catchphrases as hooks, and I expect a mix of some clever rhymes with some not so clever rhymes. Some of those not so clever rhymes being cut that bitch off like an edit. I heard your new shit, it's pathetic. Like, that sounds like something a beginner rapper would write, doesn't it? Not to mention, there's a bit of an originality issue on this song in that set of 4 bars where he starts by talking about waking up in beast mode. Like, the inflection with which he delivers these bars is so transparently Drake-inspired that it, like, bothers me. Although, of course, there are a lot of people out there who will argue that Drake took from Big Sean, but I've never personally felt that to be the case. I always kind of feel like it's the other way around, actually. And of course, we've got to touch on by far the most talked about song on the record, which is a song called No Favors, which is a collaboration with a rapper from Detroit you may have heard of named Eminem. and personally, I really like Big Sean's verse. I love the hook. I love the dark instrumental, but I actually do not care for Eminem's appearance on here at all. For the entirety of his 2-minute long verse, I just can't help but keep thinking of that line on the song Bad Guy from Marshall Mathers LP2, where he talks about being afraid of being the biggest laughingstock in rap who can't call it quits, which he's not that at this point yet, but I am just so sick of his beyond tired subject matter, man. Like, random celebrity this and rape that, and just, this might have been a great verse for like another cypher or something, but it just bothers me that besides it being technical, of course, super technical, in fact, there's nothing else, there's no sort of concept for me to grasp onto, there's no subject matter for me to grasp onto other than like a quick little jab at Donald Trump. So yeah, I mean, unconventional opinion here, I'm sure, but I'm not really into this Eminem feature. But back on the positive tip here, Big Sean gives us beyond a shadow of a doubt the best song of his fucking career with the closing song Bigger Than Me. Oh my god. This song just makes me wish that he went for something as sonically rich and ambitious on the rest of the album as it is here. Just the choir appearance and the blaring synths in the background and a wonderful guest appearance from Starrah. This song is one of my favorite songs of the year, period. Big Sean is so moving on this song. He's almost like an entirely different rapper. He talks about seeing a dead body for the first time when he was 14 and how if he doesn't make it, he's going to end up right next to him. He talks about achieving all these things but still feeling incomplete and how that was the moment where he realized that this whole thing was bigger than he was. And it's just powerful as fuck. And that ending skit with his mother literally made me cry the first time I heard it. And on top of that, it plainly states the concept of the album, so just in case you missed the theme, it's right there at the tail end. So I thought that was a nice touch. Just tie everything together, make sure everyone's on the same page. And one more song that I'm really into is the song Jump Out the Window, where Sean shows a real strong sense of melody and comes through with his second best song ever. I really like the concept here of taking a chance with this girl that he's known for a long time who's in a bad relationship. It's very touching. And just the way that he reminisces on her coming over to play Mario Kart and how she would always pick Princess Peach. I really like the specific detail in that storytelling. It just gives the story that much of an intimacy. And yeah, the idea of jumping out the window, I think, beautifully represents that ultimate no fucks given risk that only love can make you take. And by the same token, it represents that ultimate risk that you will later in life regret not taking, which ties in, of course, with the theme of the album. Another track where he shows a bit of a melodic side is one of the singles, Halfway Off the Balcony, but that song didn't hit the same for me because A, the rhyme scheme, salary, alchemy, balcony, masterpiece, and B, I just thought that Big Sean was a little bit too wordy, and I think he stepped on the instrumental a little bit. And last but not least, I'll mention the track Sunday Morning Jetpack as a favorite, and also as an example of Big Sean sort of sprinkling in doses of spirituality, which is another underlying theme on this album. Although you can't help but wonder if that last Chance project and that last Kanye project had any sort of influence there. So, I Decided is Big Sean's best project to date, but I still find myself actively disliking portions of it, totally indifferent to other parts, and then just cherry picking the great songs. But here's the thing about Big Sean. I fuck with him. Like I'm rooting for him, and even when the tunes don't really connect with me, I'm not like offended when I hear them, like I sometimes am when I hear like G-Eazy or somebody terrible on the radio. You know the difference? So if you think this is Big Sean's best project to date, then we're in agreement. And if you think this project is really good or awesome, then we have two different sets of ears. And scientifically, I think that checks out. I Decided gets a 5 out of 10 from me. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music, and I will see you guys soon.